Welcome to Module 3.3. In this lecture video, let's take a look at how we're going to multiply decimal numbers. So basically, multiplication of decimal numbers, our approach is going to be multiplying the numbers as if they were whole numbers. After we multiply, count the total number of digits to the right of the decimal points. Then place a decimal point in the product so that the number of digits to the right of decimal points is the same as found in step number 2. All right, so let me show you how this is done, okay? Very strange. Let me write down a couple of things here real quick. It's very strange, just like this very first problem. 0.4 times 0.5. The answer is actually going to be smaller than the two number I'm starting with. So when we multiply digits that is less than 1, multiply both decimal number, less than 1, right? Because it's 0 point something less than 1. The product okay, the answer after I multiply is actually less than the original two numbers started with, or less than the factor. Okay, two factors. Lesser than the two factors that we started with. Okay, here is well, let me multiply this real quick, and then I'll explain to you why that's the case. This thing only applies if you're multiplying lesser than 1, both digits. Okay, so we're going to multiply this. If I write this out vertically, it will look something like this. But I'm going to treat this as multiplying the whole numbers, which is 4 times 5, 20. And then we're going to count the total number of decimal places that we have between the two numbers. 0.4 has 1 decimal place, 0.5 has 1. So I got 2 decimal places. So now let's put our decimal in the correct spot on the product. So look at the 20. If you look at the 20, the decimal is actually behind the 20. So I need to put it, since my product has 2 decimal places, I need to move my decimal 2 places to the left. So 1, 2. So my decimal, the accurate spot, is supposed to be right in front of the 2. So my answer got to be 0.2 or 0.20. That would be the answer. All right, let me explain to you why that's the case, okay? If you read this correctly, let's read this correctly. 0.4 is actually 4/10. All right, 0.5 is actually 5/10. Think about this. 5/10 or 0.5, most students know that's a half. Okay. So if I take my 4/10, which is 2 over 5, and times by a half, remember now, division of a fraction means times the reciprocal. So if I reverse that, multiplication of a fraction means division of the reciprocal. So basically, I'm actually taking my 4/10 divided by 2. So I'm actually make this fraction even smaller by divided by 2. That's the reason why my final product, after I multiply 0.4 and 0.5, this answer is actually smaller than my 2 factors. Okay, because I'm taking a proper fraction or a number. I'm actually dividing by 2 when I multiply by 0.5. That's why the product is smaller than the 2 factor we started with. Okay, this always happens. So most students think multiplication make the answer bigger. Not always. If you're multiplying 2 numbers that are lesser than 1, the product is actually even smaller because you are actually dividing them in a way. All right, so let's multiply. So these 2 numbers are bigger than 1. So once we multiply, the product should be bigger. So I always put the number with the most digit on top. So 5.2 times 3. So multiplication written vertically, you do not have to line them up because we're treating this like multiplying whole numbers. So worry about the decimal place after you multiply. So let's take a look. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 5 is 15. All right. So 5.2 has one decimal place. 3 does not. So if you look at the product, if you read this as a whole number, 156, the decimal is behind the 6. Since the 5.2 has one decimal place, then I will move my decimal to the left one spot. So my answer is actually going to be 15 point, okay, 56, or 15.6 will be the answer. All right. So let's do this one, okay? I'm not going to write vertically this time because this is basically one digit times one digit. 7 times 7 is 49. All right, let's count the decimal place. 0.7 has 1. 0.07 has 2 decimal places. So altogether, I have 3 decimal places. So if you look at this product, 49, the decimal is actually behind the 9. I'm actually need to count 3 decimal places backwards. So that's 1, 2, 3. Decimal is right here. There's one empty slot where I can put my 0 in. So my answer, 0.049 will be the answer. All right. Let's try a few more. All right. I'm going to put my 0.375 on top, multiply by a single digit 5. So let's multiply this vertically. 5 times 5 is 25, carry 2 on our finger. 5 times 7 is 35 plus 2 is 37. Carry 3 now. 5 times 3 is 15. 15 plus 3 on our finger is 18. All right. Only the 0.375 has decimal place, 3 of them. So let's count backwards, okay? It's supposed to be behind the 5. So if we count backwards 3 more places, so that will be 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So my decimal place actually need to be between 1 and 8. So my answer, 1.875. All right, if you don't mind, I'm gonna rewrite this problem. I always like the decimal number with the most digit on the top. It's just my habits. So again, we don't have to line them up. We just multiply them right now like whole numbers. Then we just count the decimal place afterward. So 6 times 8 is 48. Carry 4 on our hand. 6 times 1 plus 4 on our hand is 10. Carry 1. 6 times 3 is 18 plus 1, 19. All right, let's line them up correctly. 2 times 8 is 16. Put right below the 0. It's like the tens place. Okay, that's what my 2 is in tens place multiplying. So the product got to land on the tens place. All right, 2 times 8 is 16, carry 1. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3. All right, 2 times 3 is 6. Let's add them up. That's 8, 6, 12. Carry 1, 6, 7, 8. All right, let's count the decimal place. 1, 2, 3. All right, so my decimal is supposed to be behind the 8. Count 3 places backwards. 1, 2, 3. So I should put between the 8 and the 2. So my answer, 8.268. Oops, sorry. All right, let's try another one, okay? Sorry, I just like this one don't really matter because that's a 0 here. So I'm looking at this as 147 times 951, okay? So 1 times 7 is 7. Oops, sorry. 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 1 is 1. 5 times 7 is 35. Put right below the 4. Carry 3. 5 plus 4 is 20. Plus 3 is 23. Carry 2 now. 5 times 1 is 5 plus 2 is 7. All right, the 9. 9 times 7 is 63. Put below the 3. It's like the hundreds place being multiplied. Carry 6. 9 times 4 is 36. 36 plus 6, 42. Carry 4. 9 times 1 is 9. Plus 4 is 13. So that juts out. So 7, let's add them up. 9, 6, 7, 9, 3, and 1. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 decimal places. So right now with this big old product, the decimal is behind the very last digit. Move back 4 places. 1, 2, 3, 4. My insert, 13.9797. All right, that's all it is. So just a quick multiplication of decimal numbers. So when we multiply decimal, we treat them just like a whole numbers. Then after we multiply, then we can actually count our decimal places. All right, that will conclude this lecture video. Thank you for watching.